The 2014 Diamond Jubilee of the BVI Emancipation Festival activities could see the introduction of a sloop race involving all 9 districts in the territory. Renowned educator Elmo Stout called for the involvement of all 9 districts in the territory in the annual competition that has for the past 10 years involved only 2 teams representing the Premier and the Governor respectively. Calling for increased community involvement in the event at the conclusion of the 10th annual Great Festival Sloop Shootout on August 3rd at the Road Tongue Jetty, Stout challenged each of the 9 district representatives in the House of Assembly to fund the sloop and have their district participate in next year's event.
When I look at the boats coming in with the 4 boom and the stuff, it reminded me of the running down to St. Thomas in the old days with the sloops. Boat behind boat, taking provision, cattle, and all the rest. The same old riggings, burning your fingers and stretching the muscles. If local people are interested, you could get a group of people from a village, from a district, supporting the building of a sloop. In fact, the Premier should be able to invite each representative, the 9 representatives from the districts, to take some of their district funds to build a sloop, maintain the sloop, and come out here in each district cheering for the sloop. Then you will see some fun.
So you're looking at one aspect of the maritime tourism product that needs some beefing up here.
As a matter of fact, if we had done something earlier, when each marina was developing the BVI, if we had said to them 1% of your yacht should be wooden, the industry would have survived.
And as we go forward now, you're advocating that we have a bigger competition for this?
We got to. We can't just leave it like that. We got to get everybody involved.
Elmo Stout was part of the crew that represented Governor Boyd McCleary aboard the sloop Moonbeam, who competed against the crew led by 8th District Representative Marlon Penn, who represented Premier Dr. Orlando Smith aboard the sloop Sea Moon. 4-time winner Premier Dr. Orlando Smith was unable to participate in this year's race, and so too was Governor Boyd McCleary. However, Marlon Penn and his team retained the trophy on behalf of the Premier to record a 5th consecutive victory in the event. Are you in support of what Mr. Stout just said, basically?
I endorse everything Mr. Stout just said. Actually, today is my first time out on one of those boats, and it's a great experience for me as well. I think the historical significance of the boats that Mr. Stout just outlined is very important for all of us to know where we come from in terms of. I just got a brief history lesson from Mr. Butch right here, telling me about the days when the boats used to gather at West End, and there used to be a big festival before they take the cattle to St. Thomas in the USBI. So those are things that we need to know as Virgin Islanders in terms of our history and the role these boats have played in our economic development in our entire history as well.
So the race today wasn't necessarily about winning, was it? It was more about the preservation of the Virgin Islands history in this regard.
Yes, it was, because I think not many persons know about the boats, and like I say, it's my first time, sailing one of the boats, and so I endorse the sentiments of Mr. Stout in terms of every district needs to have one of those boats and teach the younger generation about those boats and go out and sail those boats as well, so that history and that culture stays alive within the islands.
Deputy Governor Inez Archibald, who was at the time acting governor, viewed the races, and she echoed the sentiments expressed by Elmo Stout. The Deputy Governor said the BVI is a maritime-oriented society and expressed support for having the sloop races become a territory-wide competition.
Well, I've actually been participating. As you know, Governor is away. So I came out to represent Governor, and first of all, let me say congratulations to the Premier and his team for winning. I think the good gentleman just indicated that it's not so much a question of winning, it's a question of keeping the history and the culture alive. And today I got a lump in my stomach when I thought about the fact that actually those were the little boats we came from West End on when I was a child, and I thought about coming from Anegada in that channel on those little boats and how brave we were, and little wonder we are such a hardy people. When I think of my childhood, I think boat and water, because that's all we had in West End. So we did water sports as games as children. There were no toys, etc. So I think it's an exceptional idea to have the entire territory involved. After all, we still have Jost Van Dyke as our sister island, Virgin Gorda as our sister island, Anegada. We have representatives for those islands. And in truth and in fact, there really is hardly, when I think of the districts there may not be but one landlocked district. I think all the others probably border the water. So we are very much a water and boat people. And so I think it'll be an exceptional idea next time to have all of the districts represented, as Mr. Stout said, all of the folks from the district coming out to root for their different boats, and that should be exciting.
Sailing aboard the sloops is a worthwhile experience, according to some of the crew members for the two teams.
I enjoyed being out there, even though we didn't win. It was different sailing those boats, and I enjoyed that.
I've been launching with Chris Brockbank a campaign to hopefully represent the territory in Rio in 2016, and that's in the 49er class. This boat's a high-performance, really, really fast boat. So going from sailing that a few days ago, going a lot faster to the slower sloops, it's obviously a very different format of sailing, but it's enjoyable.
Quite interesting, sailing with the old veterans like Mr. Stout and Elvin was quite a learning experience for me. It was the first time on a sailboat actually. But listening to the guys describe the nautical terms and all the tackle terms was quite interesting for me.
Marlon Penn accepted the sloop shootout trophy from race organizer and curator of the Virgin Islands Maritime Museum, Jeffrey Brooks, during a short ceremony at the Sir Oliver George's Plaza. The sloops were docked at the Roadtongue Jetty for public viewing over the festival weekend, and a final race was held on Tuesday from the Roadtongue Harbour to Naniki, where the boats are docked. The governor's team redeemed themselves by winning that final race. The sloop races coincided with the traditional Virgin Islands marketplace held at the Sir Oliver George's Plaza. The vendors we spoke to on August 3rd welcomed the event, and they also told us about the local products they had on display.
All these sewn dolls are made by me, the knitted dolls, and the shell work recycled plastic bottle dolls are made by both me and the kids. The soaps are made by me and the children, and earrings are made by us also. Shells are collected off the beach on Peter Island and recycled. The salt is picked from Salt Island and made into salt bath and bath bombs.
Wow, that's great. So all of these things are actually local stuff.
Yes.
Is this a meaningful, profitable cottage industry?
Yes, it is, but I'm ready to do mass productions. But the keep down is the space I have. I don't have enough space to produce as much stuff that I would like to produce in the BVI.
So far, it's been busy, but not that much hot. But I'm glad for the opportunity to get to distribute my stuff, which is gooseberry stew here at $1 piece, and Tom stew, locally made hot pepper, hot sauce, some local lemon from our lemon trees, and the sugar apple, which is popular, but we don't have much of the trees anymore.
It's good to serve people. You're making a little money, but you're serving God, and it's fun. We peel it, we put it in the machine, and it runs through. The juice go in a container, and then we bottle it up and put it in the ice cold, and people enjoy it.
City Manager Janice Brathwaite-Edwards spearheaded the traditional marketplace activity, and she sees the concept as one way to boost heritage tourism here in the British Virgin Islands.
A lot of people have passed through. A lot of people want me to stage it a lot more. It's something that we're going to consider. It's not very expensive to do. It's just time consuming to put it together. If you notice, this time we did the roof a little differently, but it gets warm when we have all the sails up there because they take up a lot of heat.
Can we look forward to this being a permanent part of the annual festival activities?
Yes, you can. And not only that, one of the things is we're going to stage it during the tourist season, because I think it's important that the visitors who come to the destination understand how we live, what we grow, what things we use to eat, etc.
And now that you mentioned that culture is an integral part of modern day tourism, everyone wants to come and know what your country is like, and this is one opportunity, isn't it?
It is, and keeping in mind that tourism is my background, and as city manager I want to see the city come alive, so I'm willing to entertain any cultural experience that would enhance, the city's operation. I know this week you noticed that we had a hat parade. We're now having this car show in the city. We had Umi's fashion show yesterday in the city. So slowly but surely, the city is coming alive.